ready?
My name is JJ.
My name is JM.
My name is Jack. My name is Jay.
And my name is Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time Financial House.
So, are you ready?
Invest in the stock market so that you'll become rich.
I know it's unconventional, it's not traditional, but it works. Plan, build, secure.
I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm Jack. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time WoW!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals that will share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
And we'll have these episodes ready and available on our YouTube channel for your future reference.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time!
There's a secret to success. Everybody hopes to find. There's a key to the world, and it's mine, all mine. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm gonna find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes to success. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes to success. I've got a blueprint for the future, a brand new design. I'm playing at the money game, winning all the time. There's a world of opportunity filled with possibility and dreams that I'm going to find. I got a millionaire mind. I say yes, I say yes to success.
Before we begin, let's start with a prayer. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear Lord, please bless us and open our minds that we will be able to look deep within ourselves and root out the problems in our lives. Make us stronger in our health, that we may be able to energize our bodies and resist all sicknesses, and so that we can help other people with the information that we'll learn through our speaker who will share with us today. All of this we pray through Christ our Lord.
Amen.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit.
Amen.
Hello, everybody. I'm JJ.
I'm JM.
I'm Jack. I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time WoW!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
Our guest speaker for this month is an intuitive healer who has scorned the depths of his own pain, searching for the most powerful healing practices. He has invested his whole life finding meaning and purpose in trauma and painful events of the past in order to find healing and strength in the present. With more than 20 years of experience learning from different masters and disciplines the arts of self-healing, he has been able to free himself from many traumas, illnesses, and disease, such as child abuse, rape, cancer and AIDS, and a wide spectrum of ill mental health. He learned Kundalini Yoga from a young age from his mother Akasha Kaur, a wonderful prenatal Kundalini teacher, and EFT, or Emotional Freedom Technique, from Diana Rodriguez Basaldua, leading expert in alternative healing therapies. He put together these two powerful techniques to create Tapalini, a powerful technique in a combination of Kundalini meditation, EFT or tapping, and breath work during a group therapy of child sexual abuse in 2018 with Survivors UK. His vision is to enable each and every individual to use their darkest and most challenging emotions to harness their own power, strength, and unique expression of themselves in finding the healing and peace desired within the meaning and purpose of their struggles and pain. By watching, listening, and following his experience and methods, you will gain the perspective necessary to understand the why of your circumstances, purpose, and strength hidden within your dark feelings and emotions, and how to turn your losses into wealth.
Welcome to another series here in Wisdom on Wednesdays. Since our family just had the COVID experience, we thought it best to discuss the topic of health. So, we bring an expert from London who healed himself of two major deadly diseases, cancer and AIDS. Health is Wealth is the title of the series, and on the first episode, he will be teaching us the value of pain and disease in our lives, the deeper meaning on why we get ill. He'll tell his own life story and will teach us which negative emotions affect which organ in our bodies. On the second episode, he'll dive deeper into how we self-sabotage, how toxic emotions affect our daily lives, and how to let go so that we'll have a strong and healthy life. The last episode would be the most interesting topic about finding purpose and expression in depression. So, let's learn together in this new series on health here on Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Coach Eduardo Blanco.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another series of Wisdom on Wednesdays, where we guest wisdom-filled individuals to share their knowledge and expertise with us. And this month, we have a new series, and it's all about health, which is a good thing because, as you know, our family just had COVID. It's actually our day, I think day 27 today. As you heard from JJ, our coach is from London, and he's gonna teach us all about health. His series is entitled Health is Wealth. That's true, right, Coach Ed?
Absolutely. Hello, Joey. Thank you so very much for that introduction. It was beautiful. Thank you so much to everyone who's watching this program, to all the beautiful country, Filipinas. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm very, very pleased to be here with you today.
Okay, so aside from what you heard from JJ on the introduction that he gave, would you like to tell us more about you and your journey to health?
Absolutely. It would be a pleasure. Thank you so much. Well, I would like to share that I am a normal individual who has been able to heal naturally one of or two of the most horrible diseases in our world. I believe to be two of the most horrible ones. One is cancer, and the other one is AIDS. And not by wanting to do it, I didn't do this. I didn't go into these illnesses knowingly. Obviously, it was by chance. I mean, we got it without knowing or without any kind of previous alarm. So we just get them. And when that happened, I began to notice things that made me realize that we have more power than the one we think. And that's when the whole transformation began. It was the first time was cancer in 2000. The doctors gave me 6 months to live, and I was like shocked, obviously. Like I wouldn't imagine anyone not being shocked by a news like that. And I went with my family to make peace, just to kind of, something, arrange my things, because I was told that I had 6 months to live, so I needed to make peace with everyone. And so I went back to my home in Mexico and make peace, especially with my mother, who I hadn't talked for almost 10 years. we had an amazing time together. We connected like we haven't, like never connected before. And when I was ready to go back to New York, I was living in New York back then. I went to the doctors and I said, I'm ready. In which stage I am? So they took some blood tests and they said, what do you do? What happened? What happened in Mexico? And like, well, I just went to say goodbye to everyone and to kind of connect with all my family and make peace. So there is nothing. So, and I was like, what do you mean there's nothing? Well, there is nothing there. And I was, in my mind, everything just kind of went crazy because it's like, what do you mean? But the funny thing is, about at that time, I was reading a book called You Can Heal Your Life by Louise Hay, who is also a healer who healed herself from cancer using positive affirmations. You probably have heard of her, yes. And in my mind was, there are something really powerful in the way we think about ourselves and the connection we have with our past. But I had already kind of jumped the hurdle of cancer and I didn't make much of it. 5 years later, I got diagnosed HIV positive. And the same, I mean, it was the chaos, what am I going to do? And I was presented with a possibility. And this was a controversial theory, like many that we find now, you know, scientists from different parts of the world saying things about HIV that completely contradicted what other doctors said. And I was like, whoa, if I hadn't had the history of cancer, I probably wouldn't even think about questioning anything. Like, you would be crazy to think that you can question anything like that. But I already had the cancer history. And in my mind was, I believe there is a lot more power in our minds that we are led to believe. Because so far, the only salvation that we get from doctors is their medication. It's through medications, through vaccination, through listening to what they have to say that we can survive and get stronger or get better of their symptoms or whatever, of the illness and disease. And I began just to question, just to, really? How is that possible? And through trial and error, along 10 years' time, I began to notice how by dealing with my emotions, I could affect or influence my body positively. That was incredible. And the first time that I had that opportunity was precisely with pneumonia. I don't know if you know, but one of the main factors of AIDS, or it's precisely pneumonia, PCP pneumonia. And I had it 3 times. So I had enough time to kind of notice what was going on, because I realized that a lot of the pneumonia that I was feeling was connected with my emotions, because I would start getting better sometimes, even before I was administered any medication, just by the fact that I was in hospital being cared by doctors. That was like, how could I feel better just because I'm protected and under care? Even before they gave me any medication, I began questioning all of it. And I realized, okay, if I am looking for protection, that means that there is a part of me that is very vulnerable, that feels very vulnerable. What part of me feels vulnerable? And I began to go deep, because I went deep into my subconscious. And I began to question what it is about me that feels so vulnerable, that precisely connects with the lungs. And I began looking into Louis Hay. I began looking into different modalities, like different types of healing, and that's how I discovered how to connect with the lungs. That's when I began to realize, if I begin to heal my emotions and the way I think about myself from the deepest part of our subconscious, from the part that says, what is your mission? What are you doing in this world? What is our purpose of being human and being self-aware? Even as deep as that. I mean, if everything in nature has a purpose, what is our purpose? And even finding answers as deep as that. And I'm not saying that the answers that I found are the only answers that there is. I mean, I think that we all have the opportunity to find our own answers. But the thing is, we stop questioning. We stop asking the questions. Who am I? What am I doing here? What is my real purpose? What do I really need to transform myself into so I can serve the world better? And now we see it in the world outside. This world is chaotic and we are so disempowered. We are so disempowered. There is people who have nothing to eat. Well, there is other people who are totally obese. We have people who are very sick for lack of access to health services. While there are other people who cannot stop going to the doctors to fix themselves in the smallest of ways. It's so unbalanced. But this is because we are all so focused on me, my pain, please somebody save me. Oh gosh, I don't know what to do. Somebody has to come and save me. And that comes a lot. And this is probably a dangerous terrain to go into, even more dangerous than medication. It's religion. By religion, we've been programmed to think that salvation is out there, that we have to go and look into salvation, that we have to obey certain laws to gain access to our own salvation. When I believe that salvation is within ourselves. God is within ourselves, and health is within ourselves. Wisdom, light, everything is within ourselves, and we have to somehow empower ourselves to truly believe that. And at this point, I feel that God put me in a place where I had to deal with very specific illnesses, with very specific abuse in my childhood, with very specific circumstances, to come and say, guys, this is what happened to me. I'm not saying that I'm right or wrong. The fact is that I am alive and I'm strong and I have the fire within me. How? I don't know, because to be honest, I'm not a magician. I don't know what's going on. How is it happening? But I only know that if you are brave enough to begin to ask the questions that are really important in your life, you start getting answers. And with those answers comes responsibility. With power comes responsibility. And we have to start taking responsibility. And that can be very frightening. That's true as well. Because that means that we have to come out and show ourselves vulnerable and authentic and say, I don't know how, and I don't know all these things that had happened. But what I know is that it's possible to achieve all the most incredible dreams that we have dreamt before. It's possible. It's possible to make of this world the most beautiful world ever, healthy, wealthy, happy, and truly connect with each other as brothers and sisters.
Wow.
I think that is possible.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I have a question though. You know, with the cancer, when you were
Yeah.
given 6 months to live
Yes.
and you decided that you'd make peace with everyone and you went to see your mom, whom you said you haven't spoken to in 10 years. Do you think the forgiveness and that decision to just let go of the pains of the past, you think that had something to do with your healing?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it would make it a bit more evident when I tell you I had testicular cancer. So my cancer started in the testicles. And I was very ashamed because my mom stopped talking to me for being gay. So everything was kind of connected to sexuality. So when we began to talk and she began to accept me and I began to release guilt, when I began to release shame, when I began to release all these very hard, horrible emotions that although I accept them because I was living my life the best I could, they were still very engraved deep in my heart and in every cell of my body. So absolutely, I believe that forgiveness, understanding, connection, compassion, definitely goes to the top of the list of the healing process. Yes.
Right. This is very interesting because now we'll be talking about emotions being a major factor in having diseases. So, anyway, our topic for today is about pain and disease. So, why do you think is it important for our evolution?
I believe that as we are entering the new era of consciousness in our civilization, we are becoming aware. And we are entering, I don't know if you have heard of the Aquarian age. The Aquarian age, which is, it has to do with the stars. It has to do with the zodiac. I'll give you a little very quick history of these stages of life. They normally last about 2,000 years. And the previous one was the Pisces era, which was the era of gurus, of shepherds, of people who led you, teachers who will come and tell you what to do, how to do it. And they say, come, follow me. I will take you to the other side, like Moses or Jesus or Abraham. I mean, like all of them. And now we are entering a space when the only guide is within ourselves. The lights that we're looking is not out there, it's in here. And to find the light, we have to go through the tunnel. You know, like the light at the end of the tunnel. That tunnel is our darkness. Our darkness is our subconscious. Our subconscious holds the pain, the fear, the not knowing. And within that part exists our illnesses and disease, the pain. So how could we use pain to help us evolve is through understanding the origin of pain, to say, you know something, any pain, COVID is a pain of humanity right now, and it attacks the lungs. And when you begin to understand where does that come from, you would say, oh, well, the virus from China, you would say, or we don't know where did it come from, but it came from somewhere. That is not what we are, that's not, let's say, the problem. The problem is to find how come there is something that can find fertile ground within somebody's body. Why for someone it's deadly and why for others it's not? Why? I mean, what is the difference? And in my experience, I'm not a doctor or a therapist or consultant of any kind, but in my experience, I realized that through the emotions, the vibration of the emotion, if you have a weakness that vibrates at this a frequency of vulnerability, when this virus comes, it attaches to that. If you don't have that vulnerability, if you feel strong, if you have within you all the things that you say, you can say to yourself, it will not happen. I will not get sick because I never get sick. I haven't had a cold in 20 years or 30 years or my whole life, and it will not happen. it will not happen because it doesn't happen. Because we don't have the vulnerability. And if we feel it, we might feel it very mild. I have not found one single person who feels strong, like really strong, and then gets attacked and then gets weakened. If that is the case, all that strength, it was only apparent. That means that behind the facade, the mask, there was real weakness and vulnerability. And that's why we have to go and look into the past. We have to look into, where does it come from? Where did that first feeling of vulnerability began? For example, with the lungs, Louise Hay says it's all about sadness, deep sadness. And I connected. I had pneumonia 3 times. And I do connect it. I felt that deep sadness. It's like grief, but not of somebody who died. It's like a part of you who is already dead. It's that kind of sadness. And when I began going very deep into meditation, I said, what kind of sadness could this be? Where does it originate? And I was meditating for up to 8 hours a day because I needed answers and I was not going to rest until I get them. In one of those meditations, it was about 2015. I was deep into meditation and I had this kind of vision. And it was like, imagine that you are your soul. And imagine that you know yourself limitless. Imagine that you have the power of the whole universe behind you because you know it, because you are part of it. That's what the soul knows. And suddenly that soul, which believes and knows itself to be omnipresent and omnipowerful and all the omnis available, comes and gets trapped inside our bodies with all the limitation of this reality, of the third reality of being pulled down by gravity, being limited by our skin, but more importantly, to be limited by our beliefs. And you have to live every single day of your life knowing that your potential is humongous and you are living this much. And then when I connected with that feeling, like imagine you are your soul talking to yourself and you can interview your soul, said, I wish I could be great. I wish I could connect with everyone. I wish I could experience my own abundance. But instead, I am made to comply and to live with the tiniest of life, just to survive, just barely, just to survive. And that made me sad. And I realized, yes, our humanity right now is suffering from the sadness of not knowing who we are and having the limitations of as a belief structure that doesn't empower us, that doesn't give us the opportunity to say, you can do and be whatever you want. This is how I feel that we can use pain to serve our evolution, to give us the tools that we need to understand who we really are. Because no matter if you are healing yourself of a broken spine or a broken neck or cancer or AIDS or diabetes or problems in your blood, we have the power to deal with ourselves. We can put ourselves together. We can break ourselves down and we can put ourselves back together. And it's all about believing and understanding. And here I would like to bring about a book that probably some of our audience have heard of or you have heard before. It's called You Are the Placebo by Joe Dispenza.
It was actually just last year when my mom had COVID and I had to go to the US to be with her. That's when I read most of his books. And when my mom survived COVID, I was actually the one telling everyone that it's just a virus. Don't be afraid. Our immune system is stronger. And you have to read or follow the works of Dr. Joe Dispenza and Dr. Greg Braden, because they're telling us that our bodies, our immune system is really intelligent and it can fight any kind of virus and bacteria. So yeah, I know, I'm familiar with Joe Dispenza. I love that.
If we have that, we already have scientific proof that the power of our thoughts truly change our biology. This is already there. I mean, there are already scientists proving this by science. So what it is that stops us? And here is the magic ingredient of real health and all magic. It's a little bit of faith. A little bit of faith. Just a tiny bit. Because with that tiny bit, I would say, we might be able, you know something? I'm not fully believe that I can heal myself, because you know something? I have a degenerative disease. I don't know, anything. But I am willing to listen. I'm not going to deny it. I'm not going to accept it, but I'm willing to listen, and not only to listen what is coming from the outside, but to listen what is my intuition, what is my inner knowing reaction towards that information. How am I vibrating? If I'm listening to something and I'm feeling, yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right to me. Trust it. And that's the most difficult part, to trust. Because we are conditioned to doubt, which is very different to question. Question is good, but to doubt, it's corrosive. Because doubt, you already have confirmation. You already have confirmation, and you are doubting what you are feeling, which is like the worst cancer ever. You cannot doubt yourself. If you're feeling right, trust that you're feeling right. If you're feeling like you're feeling like you're feeling strong, trust it. And the same the other way around. If you feel like you're feeling weak, trust it. Don't pretend that everything is right. Go and use of it. I need more. I need more time for myself. I need more healing. I need X or Y. It's very, very important to be very honest and very authentic with ourselves.
Our family were doing self-growth studies, so we know about emotions having an effect on our health. But what do we need to learn from pain and disease that doctors haven't figured it out already?
I believe that we have to dig deeper into our subconscious, because every single illness and disease has an origin, and the origin is not the disease itself. It's the frequency of vibration, is the energy, is the magnetic and electromagnetic field that gives birth to the vulnerability that allows bacteria, funguses, or viruses to truly attach to us. It's not about killing the virus, it's about healing the soil in which the virus attached. That is something that somehow our scientists still don't consider as important, because it cannot be proven. Because nobody knows much about the subconscious. There are more people, gurus probably in India, they will know more about the subconscious than doctors in universities. And therefore, they don't trust that. They question it because they cannot see it. Therefore, it doesn't exist. They cannot prove it scientifically. But this is what we were talking before, the trusting. Not doubting. If it feels right, trust that it feels right and go deeper. Go deeper, go deeper, especially now we have so many modalities of energy healing, of going deep into meditation. We have from ayahuasca in Brazil all the way to deep meditations in Tibet. Choose whatever feels right. And this is another thing that people don't trust, and I would say that word again. It's what they are receiving. Have you heard they say, if you get lemons, make lemonade? Well, we get the lemons, but we don't use them. We want to still drink Coca-Cola or something else, cola. And that's the thing. When we need something, when we are sick, weak, vulnerable, we always receive what we need. The universe always provides exactly what we need. That is the first law of the universe. The universe will provide everything you need, but not what you want. What you want, you have to go and look for it. You have to go and make it happen. But what you need is going to be freely available to you. Now we have to look at what are we receiving. How many times do people who are sick say, oh no, you go out to them and say, oh, why don't you try this? And like, nope, I would never try that. Okay, I mean, if it's about something that they feel not right, okay. But if it's about morality, if it's about a belief, then we are going against our own healing. We have to be very open-minded, very, very open-minded. We have to allow ourselves to listen, filter it through our discernment, and then decide, okay, you know something? CDB oil sounds strange, but I've seen all the results that it's having with people with epilepsy. I'm seeing all the results that it's having with people with asthma. I'm going to try it. Instead of saying, nope, I'm not trying that. We have to be able to use our lemons so we can turn ourselves into the lemonade of the universe. I believe that this is the one of the secrets of healing.
I definitely agree with you with everything that you have been saying. But what we know, I mean, we who are into self-growth, they're not usually accepted by many, right? By the masses, especially those who are not into self-development yet. So what would you advise them on how to start with this journey, with this mindset, with these thoughts, with connecting emotions, with having the disease that they have? What do you think would be their first step, especially if they're really not into these things? Like you mentioned meditation a lot, and people are not meditating. They're praying, yes, but not into that meditation. Our family, we just recently got serious into meditation. It's just this year that we really made it regular that we would be meditating as a family, but not every family would do that. I mean, not everyone would be open to doing that. Especially here in the Philippines, we're not into that yet.
I understand you, because Mexico is exactly the same. We are not that kind of, we don't have that mentality. So answering your question about what would I suggest? It could be the first step into people who wants to heal themselves and want to begin to open their possibilities to a different destination. It's about being open to begin to kind of, if you don't want to accept, that's fine, don't accept, but don't deny either. So give yourself that neutrality of saying, okay, I'm going to be neutral. I'm going to allow myself to listen. And instead of jumping right away in saying no, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt. In this case, instead of denying completely, it's about giving it the benefit of probably thinking, let's listen a bit more. Let's begin, because there is a truth, and that is a truth that I had to learn through very deep pain and disease. We can heal ourselves. We can definitely heal ourselves, and the only thing we have to look into is to heal our past, heal our relationships with our families, heal our relationships with ourselves, heal the relationships that we have with nature, what it is our purpose here in life, and just feel that connection deep in our hearts, really, really feeling it. And until you are satisfied, when you say, you know something, I can look back at my past, regardless of how bad it was, regardless of how painful and abusive and difficult was, I can look back, feel detached from it, and say thank you. When we can say thank you, when we can feel gratitude for the abuse, for the injustice, for the pain, for the disease, when we get to the point of being grateful, life will change. And you say, well, that's a very elevated concept. Being grateful for pain is like, imagine that you've been raped and you have to be grateful and love your rapist. Well, the way to come to that gratitude is to understand that through the weakness, through the vulnerability, there is always a way to become stronger. Always, 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 always. And I know by pure experience, self-experience, death can bring life. Death brings life. Every single moment when death appears, there is a new opportunity to continue somewhere else. So when we have illness and an accident or disease or injustice or something like that, which can be related to the darkness of death, has the potentiality to start a new journey in which we can become something bigger, better, and brighter. That is the nature of things. That is how the symbol of infinity becomes. That crossing is the pain. It's like a baby being born. The contractions and the pain and the difficulty and that is the accident. That is when somebody hits you, when somebody rapes you, when a disease falls up to you. That is the moment. That is a moment of difficulty. But out of that moment of difficulty, there is a new chance to begin a new life. And once you pass the trauma, once you feel protected, guided, and stable in a safe environment, you can begin to look back and say, okay, what did I learn from that experience? What did I learn about myself? And when you realize all the things that you learned, all the beautiful new experiences that you feel about yourself, probably someone who went through deep trauma went into deep meditation and became very self-aware. Like me, for example, HIV right now, AIDS, my goodness, is one of the greatest blessings of my life. If you tell me, would you go back and have it again? Yes, absolutely, 100%. But now the thing that I would be doing differently is that I would not fear it. I would not be so ashamed by it. I would not be so angry. But I would be grateful. Right now, I feel like I can have any disease. I would actually invite openly the universe to say, hit me. If you feel like I still need something to learn, hit me and hit me hard, because you know something, I'm not afraid, because I now have the tools, I have the discipline to say, I can make it through. I can make it through. And this, whatever it is, this life is not the end of my life. It's not the end of our life. So we can always come back and retake where we left. But definitely we have all that we need. And I will leave this with words that I received when I had my first near-death experience. In my first near-death experience, when I was about to die, and I felt so bad because I was killing myself because I had HIV. I tried to commit suicide. And in that intent, I tried to overdose myself. In that moment of death, a voice in my head, totally free of the drugs, came and said, don't give up. You are not alone. I love you. after those words, I saw nothing. I didn't see a light. I just went off. It took me days to wake up. When I woke up, it was like a brand new day. I was like listening differently. Colors were different. My mind was quiet. There was no single thought in my mind. And the first thought that came into my mind when I woke up was, water is alive. In every drop of water exists all the information for a brand new universe to exist. And the second thought was, you can heal yourself. I'm just going to leave you with that because that was powerful for me. And I feel that every time I share my story, I always say these words: you are not alone. Don't give up. I love you. With that, we can achieve anything.
Wow, that's great. That's great. When did that happen? I mean, did that happen prior to the cancer and AIDS?
That was before. After. Cancer was in 1999, and AIDS was in 2006. So there were 6 years in between. And the overdose, the near-death experience, happened in 2007, 1 year after I was diagnosed. Yeah. I mean, I know about the shame. I know about the thinking that there is no salvation, because it's not about medication.
Yeah.
It's not about not dying. It's the realization that there is not going to be any life after that. Sadly, I went down because of all my trauma. But out of that, so 2007 to 2021.
So it was during this time that you did your self-growth journey?
It was, that's when I began taking seriously.
Yeah. All right.
Because there was no other option.
Right.
There was no other option, because many people say, why don't you just take the medication and forget about it? And it's like, it's not that I cannot take the medication. The thing is, there is so much trauma behind that I don't even know that it's there.
Yeah.
I don't even know that there is trauma there. I didn't know that I had so much sadness, or they had so much anger and depression. And I mean, I didn't know. I needed the disease to come up. I needed to show up so I could say, oh, look at that. What it is. How can I deal with it? But if I constantly mask my symptoms with pills, I would not know what is going on, and I would just feel as I felt before, not with a mission, not knowing who I am, not knowing what my real power was, not feeling connected, feeling very ashamed all the time. Yeah. Feeling like I always felt that I was born in the wrong world. Honestly, I felt like I was adoptive. I always believed that my family wasn't my family, because I felt so different, and I was so angry for being alive. So angry. When I was a kid, I was so angry because you already read my story about the abuse that I had with my stepfather. So I was very angry of, what am I doing here? Every single day, do I have to get beaten? Every single day? What for? What for? I mean, I couldn't understand, why did I kept breathing? Honestly, it was like somebody just turned off the breathing machine. But it was about learning. Right. It was about feeling empowered.
Yeah. Would you know which negative emotion would affect our organs? Because you mentioned about, like, you had pneumonia and it's our lungs. So probably,
anger is the liver.
Anger
is the liver. bitterness is a pancreas. That's why we normally people with diabetes, they have to deal with their bitterness and envies. Kidneys is about filtration. Kidneys is it connects a lot with fear. It's about the kidneys release, so it filter all the negative emotions. So they get affected by pretty much everything. The stomach is fear. The sexual organs is about shame. I mean,
How about lungs?
lungs is about sadness.
Oh,
Lungs is about sadness, definitely. Lungs is about sadness because the opposite of sadness is joy. So we have to question ourselves, for example, with this COVID. And this is something that you can probably answer yourself. In the scale of 1 to 10, what is my level? When one, I mean, if I have one here, sadness, and on this side, I have absolute joy, the joy of feeling one with the universe at that level, I'm talking one with the universe, like feeling the power of God really behind you. That's the kind of joy I'm talking about. To sadness of, well, I'm on this world and I'm doing the best I can. Like, this is where we all are. This is not about being ashamed of, I'm here. But if we have this line of being one with the universe, when you pretty much believe you can walk on water, to I need salvation. I don't know where I am or where I'm going, and I'm dealing with my mind, which is just very difficult to deal with. Where am I? And once you know this line, when you say, okay, I have to have the courage to believe exactly where am I in this chapter. You will say, okay, now I understand why. But it's not about feeling bad with ourselves. This is about realizing that we have the responsibility, because it's up to us to bring the line all the way to here, or bring the point. We can. We have the power, we have the knowledge, we have the experience, so we can feel one with the universe. And when you have it, it's not about only, oh, well, I already have it. This is when you creators and law of attraction believers, when you put it into practice and you say, I'm going to move a mountain. What is my mountain? I'm going to reach thousands, millions of people. Well, go and do it. This is the moment when you say, okay, now you believe it? Yes. I'm very Anthony Robbins. Yes. I have all the power behind me. Yes. I believe. Yes, I believe. And I'm going to make it possible. Yes, I'm going to make it possible. Then you go out of that place and you have to make it possible. And you have to believe. And every time you self-sabotage, you go back to the drawing room and say, where does that self-sabotage begins? Probably began when in my childhood, or even in my previous life. Or maybe I even absorbed it from my mother or my father. I have to understand where that emotion originates. And with that, you can do anything you want. Wealth, happiness, health, relationships, what it is that your heart desires. That's it, and it's yours. And I'm here to be very mindful of where you want to go. But my experience is in going deep into the subconscious. Say, well, I self-sabotage myself in this because I doubt, or I fear, or I'm actually very angry, or I don't believe, I don't have faith, I don't have the discipline. That's my expertise, because that's where I've been, and that's where I can be very helpful to others and say, let me show you what I've done. And if it helps, brilliant. If it doesn't, well, more other people will come. But let me share what I have, and this is where I have to be very, very grateful with you, Joey, for giving me this opportunity to share this experience with all our audience. Thank you.
Okay. Well, next week we'll delve more into this because you'll be talking about toxic emotions, right? Would you like to give a preview of what we'll learn then?
Well, we can go deep into how we self-sabotage precisely and how those toxic emotions actually influence our daily life. How by working and understanding and learning and healing our toxic emotions, we can get stronger. We can become very mindful of the triggers in our lives, and we can begin to create safe structures around us that makes us feel like, okay, I can be vulnerable because I have a coping mechanism, a safe mechanism that will stay there when I'm working with myself. So I think toxic emotions is not about just get rid of them. It's about understanding them. It's about listening to the message that they have for us.
All right. Excited to learn more from you. So once again, thank you for your time and we'll see you next week.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye.
I'm JJ.
I'm Dan.
I'm Jock.
I'm Jake.
And I'm Jamie.
And welcome to It's Time WoW!
Wisdom on Wednesdays.
Your weekly dose of wisdom.
So every Wednesday, we will invite wisdom-filled individuals that will share with us their expertise, competence, and experience that will help us gain more success, knowledge, and wisdom.
And we'll have these episodes ready and available on our YouTube channel for your future reference.
So get your fill of wisdom every Wednesday.
It's time!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome my mom, Miss Joy Taylor.